Hey Jackets fans, it's Neil here from Post to Post. I'm going to answer, will the Columbus Blue Jackets do better next season? It's kind of a strange team, is it not? Like, they've done so many, not necessarily questionable things, but the team has changed so much in the last 5 years. You think about the time near the trade deadline a couple of years ago where they just went ham and they just went for it. Fortunately, it didn't work out, but it was really interesting to see. I kind of liked, the big balls approach to that. That was really cool. So it's a team I don't necessarily love or even necessarily like, but I don't hate them. I don't dislike them. They're just kind of a middle ground team for me. I hope that they do well. I would love to see their fans kind of celebrate some playoff success, and I guess they did kind of get to celebrate a little bit when they swept Tampa the other year. That was incredibly enjoyable to watch. But let's take a look back at some of their history in the past 5 years and maybe talk about some of the moves they've made this offseason and then answer the question, are the Columbus Blue Jackets going to do better next season? And if you know where they landed last year, it's a pretty easy answer it's a pretty easy question to answer. Let's get into this. So in 16-17, they came third in the Metro, and they lost in the first round to the Pittsburgh Penguins. In 17-18, they came fourth in the Metro. They lost in the first round to the Washington Capitals. In 18-19, they came fifth in the Metro, and they lost in the second round to Boston. And in 19-20, they came sixth in the Metro and lost in the first round to the Tampa Bay Lightning. They got some revenge there. And then last year, 2021, they came eighth in the Central, did not qualify for the playoffs. So, 4 years in a row they made the playoffs. Pretty impressive, actually. But last year was a complete disaster. Like, it was so bad. And I think John Tortorella and his relationship with the players was probably the determining factor, because on paper, that team last year was way better than they actually performed on ice. Then you had new players coming in. Like Roslovic came in, which was a really positive thing, and Patrick Laine came in, didn't really do anything. You had players leave, like Foligno left, so there's a lot of kind of movement in the roster last year as well, so that didn't necessarily help. But you got Brad Larson, the new coach, coming in this year, which he's already part of the organization, so the players know him. And then you've got some new faces as well, like Voracek, and then in net is kind of where I have some questions. I don't know how, I think you can really say this for any team, but I think their season really rides on how hot or how well their goalies are going to do. They are way better than they showed last year, so I think Columbus is the answer. I'm here to answer the question, is the Columbus Blue Jackets going to do better next year? I think the obvious answer is yes. They can't do worse. So clearly the answer is either they're going to do the same or they're going to do better. I think they're going to do better. Not just because of the moves that they've made in the offseason, which aren't necessarily fantastic or great, but just because they can't necessarily do worse. No one really wants to play in Columbus. I personally don't believe Patrick Laine wants to play in Columbus. The only person who seems to want to play in Columbus is Werenski, who just signed that contract. He's basically the first player to actually commit. Seth Jones is gone. I mean, it's kind of tough to be a Columbus fan and know that no one really wants to play there. Hey, listen, I'm a Canadiens fan, and I'm used to players not wanting to sign in Montreal because of the French media, because it's in Quebec, because of taxes, because it's in Canada. The list goes on for the reasons. So I understand that your pain, you're the pain that you're going through, and knowing that a lot of players in the NHL probably don't want to play for your team, which is unfortunate. But I think Columbus they definitely have potential. They could absolutely sneak into the playoffs and be one of those questionable teams that kind of surprise some people. On paper, this team definitely has a lot of potential, and I think they have a real chance at maybe shocking a couple of people this year. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but they're going to do better, in my opinion. So there you have it, just a quick video. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Columbus Blue Jackets fans, would love to hear from you down below. How do you feel about this team coming up into this next season? Are they going to do better? Are they going to completely blow our socks off and get first and just destroy the playoffs? Or are they going to do worse and come last but get less points? Would love to hear your thoughts down below. I guess technically they couldn't get less points because there's more games this year than last year. But yeah. All right, guys. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Adios.